Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this channel named Geeks for Geek School. So that's the game that we guys were developing yesterday, and it's the second part of this game which you are attending right now. So we are done with defining the code for getting this beautiful screen over here, which you're seeing right now at this time. And we are also done with defining the code for bringing this background, which you are able to see on this display screen. So that's the screen on which we'll be defining the characters with which we will play the game. So that's the floor. We have a different surface for this floor. We have defined an individual surface for this blue sky which you're able to see on this display window, and also the text which is getting reflected over here. We have defined a separate code for this. Right, let me just show you the whole code now. That's the whole code which we are done defining with over here in the Sublime text platform. Now the next thing that we need to do is, let me first show you the exact game, after developing how the game will look like. So that's the whole code of the game, and this is how it will sound. So that is how, after defining the complete code, the game will look like. Fine. Now it's time for us to define the code with the help of which we can bring the snails on our display window. Right, the snails which you just noticed, they were traveling from the right of the screen towards the left side, right, and they were again coming back. And the blue color player which you just saw on the game window, that's the one with the help of which we'll be playing the game. So we'll define the code now for bringing this nail on our display window. So we are going to make use of the same concept, the way we defined the surfaces for this ground and the sky, so as to bring them on the display window. We are going to make use of the same surface concept in order to bring this nail also on the display window. So let's do that. I would like to get a surface variable first. So snail surface is the one which I am using, and let's make use of this simple code pygame dot image dot load. Load is a function you guys know very well, with the help of which you can load any image and put it in a variable. The way I am doing it right now, you guys can also follow, and you know bring the snail on the window. So convert is a function with the help of which you can convert the image in such a form which will not put a lot of load on the game, right? So that we'll be able to see beautiful animations going on our display window, and the game should not hang at any point of time. The movement, the transitions of the different frames which this while loop is creating for us, it should be very smooth. So that's the way you can do it, right? And then we can define a position for this snail. So let's have this variable snail expose, and let me just assign it a value, let's say 600. Now if I want to bring this snail on the display, so I can use the same concept. I have used the split function. So split is for block image transfer, as you guys know very well. So we guys can use the same function for bringing the snail's image also on our screen. Let me just do that. So I am putting the same code over here. Fine, and it's time for us to uh, what is the name of the variable in which I have saved the image? Okay, that's the one in which I have saved this snail's image. So I'm putting it here, and it's time for me to define a position for the snail. So what I am doing, I would like to take this position into consideration, and I'm putting it here, and simply here I am passing 250. Right, let me now see whether I will be able to get the snail on my display window or not. I think I'll be able to see it. It's giving me an error. Why is it so? We'll have to check it out. So no such file in the directory. Okay, maybe it's not able to locate this file snail.png. Let me see if I have. Okay, I think it is with name snail1.png, not snail.png. I have rectified the name of the image and I am now able to see this image getting reflected over here. Right. Now, there is some issue with this image. If you will notice, you'll be able to see a white background just behind this snail. I don't want to look, I don't want to see it. It's a pixel game that we are developing right now, and it's appearing just because we haven't converted this image into that format, in which we can make this in which this background we can make hidden, right? So which function can we use for getting rid of this white background and this black line which is visible to us next to this snail? So instead of using this convert simply, we can make use of this function convert alpha. So what it will do, it will remove the background, it will make the background transparent, you can say that. Now if I will run the code, so that's what you will get as an output. So now neither that black line is visible to us and nor the white background is visible to us over here. So it's looking amazing right now. Okay. Now, next thing what we can do is we can define a code with the help of which we can make this snail move from this right position towards the left. And I would again like to see it reappearing on this display window. How we'll do it? So let's just see that. Uh, I have this code over here, snail I have this variable over here, snail underscore x underscore position, with which I am able to control the position along the x-axis of the snail. And I would like to see it touching the ground. This nail, if I will run this code, yeah, I missed that part, sorry. So if I will run this code, that's what I'm getting as an output. But this snail is somewhere in the air. I don't want to see it in the air. I would like to see its feet touching the ground. So let me just change it to 300. I think that will do. Now if I will run this code, so let's see what I'm going to get. Okay, it's here. No, it's not giving us the correct output. If I'll change it to 260, I think it's almost perfect. Let me just increase it to 263. I think that will give us the correct output. Yeah, now it is looking absolutely perfect. Okay, it's time for us to define the code with the help of which we can see, we can make it moving from the left side towards the right side. So for doing that, we can simply come down here and let's do one thing. Just after this point where we have defined the code for getting the text surface on the display, we can put an if control statement. So let's see, let's put a check on the snail's x position. Snail x position, if it is smaller than if it is smaller than minus 100. Okay, what I would like to do, I would like to see the snail's position changing back to this thing. It should be equal to 800. It should go back to the point where the screen is starting, just because the width of the screen is 800. So that's the reason I put this 800 over here. And before this, I need to put a code with the help of which I can make this snail x value changing after the frame gets changed. After every frame gets executed, I want to see the snail x position also changing. So how will I do that? So that's the code with help of which we can do it. And we can change it by 4, I think. Because why I have put this minus sign? Because I want to see the snail moving from the left side, from the right side towards the left side. Okay, now if I will run this code, it's amazing, really amazing it is. Python is so beautiful. See, I'm able to see this snail moving and it's giving me an error. No problem, we'll be able to fix it. Okay, so snail is not defined. Maybe I have used an incorrect spelling somewhere. Snail exposition. Okay, here it should be underscore. So the more error you get, the more things you get to learn. Now we'll be able to get it back on the screen. See, it is again and again reappearing on the screen. It is leaving the screen from the left side, and it is reappearing from the left side. So how beautiful now it is looking. So that's the beauty of coding. You can make anything possible. Okay, right. So we are done with defining the code for this nail surface. Now it's time for us to bring our main player on our display window. So what we'll be doing the same concept. We'll be using the same concept. Let's use a variable with name player surface. And while I'm defining this code, let me tell you, I've started my coding classes recently. Okay, in which I am teaching Python Python app development and Python game development. If you guys are interested in learning these things, you can contact me on my number 9891665634. Right? So player walk underscore one, and that's the name with which I have saved the image in the folder in which this file is present. So it's the player image. When you will see it, definitely you will be able to relate to the image. So I will be using this convert alpha only with this one, right? Because I don't want to see any kind of background getting reflected behind my screen, behind my player's image. So that's the reason, right? So we are done with defining the code, and let's do one thing. In order to bring it on the display window, we'll have to put a code over here. Screen.plit is the one which we'll be using, and player underscore surf is the name of the variable in which we have saved the player's image. So we'll be calling it here. We just have to put, sorry, we'll have to put the variable. Where is that variable? Okay, I think, yeah, it should be like this. Done with copying and pasting the variable in which I've saved the player's image, and it's time to run the game and see what's gonna happen. Okay, so we are able to see the player on our display window, right? But I don't want to see it here. I would like to see it somewhere down over here. You know what we can do? We can use the rectangle concept. So you guys know very well, we in rectangle concept, what happens? We define a rectangle in the background of the surface on which this player is there. So we can then control the rectangle's position using simple Python code. So that's what I am going to do now. If you don't know about rectangle coding, you can learn now, and if you want to learn more about it, please do check my previous tutorials. I have developed things like this, so you guys can check the tutorials in which I have explained you how you can develop such a beautiful game, right? Flappy Bird tutorial, and there are many other tutorials in which I've showed you different Python app gaming related things. So please do check them out so that you guys can enjoy those things. Okay, I think I've got disconnected in between. Let me just check whether I am still connected to my YouTube channel or not. Just give me a very short moment. Whether it is showing me live or not right now, that's what I would like to check. Okay, it is showing me I am live right now. Thank God I didn't got disconnected. Okay, so let's go back on this coding part, and here what I would like to do. I would like to have this player underscore rect, and let me quickly define this code with the help of which we can define a rectangle in the background of our player, with which we can control the position of our player. Fine, so I would like to keep it empty for now. I'll be defining the code for it later on. Or shall I define it now? No problem. Let me just put the required code over here now only. So here, what we can do, we can define different positions. Like if you want to see your player getting reflected getting reflected on the top left, or if you want to control the position of the rectangle based on its top left position. So you can make use of this top left keyword and simply pass a tuple value to it. So you can do it like this, 80 comma 200, and that's top left. Okay, so that's the point from where the rectangle will start, and this whole rectangle will be then drawn by the interpreter of this platform. It's time for us to bring the what we call it, bring the player on our game windows. So if you will now run the code, you will be able to see the player, but okay, we are getting this error here. Why is it so? Have to check. Okay, the function which I have used, it's that's the one. No, that's the correct name. Let me build it again on Python and see. Okay, get rect. Now, why is this showing us this error? That's what we'll have to check. Module pygame has no attribute get rect. Okay, so I think we haven't made use of this class properly. It is, it is in this pygame underscore serve class. I think now it will give us the correct output. I didn't mention this serve, so that's the reason why it showed us that error. Sorry, I didn't mention the name of the variable correctly. Not the class, it's the name of the variable which I need to put here in order to create a link in between this rectangle and the surface in which I have loaded the image of the player. So now if you will run this Python code, why am I getting an error here? Player underscore surface. So the image is there, then player underscore rect, play pygame. Okay, it should be player underscore surf. Sorry. Yeah. Now I think we'll be able to see the player. Yeah. So it is there, but we are not able to see any kind of changes happening. Right. The player is still there at the same point where it was getting reflected earlier. Right. How will we change the position of the player? Now that's the question. So what we can do, we can come down here, and where's the point where we have passed the code for getting the player reflected on the game window? Okay, I think I again got disconnected from the internet, and am I live right now or not? That's what I'll have to check for. Please bear with me for a moment, just checking whether I'm still live on YouTube or not. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just come back and shoot this video. So screen.blit, here what we can do, we can simply change this to the variable which we are using for the rectangle for the player. Okay, now I have passed this one as a parameter to the split function. Let me run this game on Python and see what's gonna happen. So we are able to see the changes here. Right, so that's where this what we call it, player is getting reflected right now. Earlier it was here and now it's here. So we made the changes successfully, but I would like to see it touching this floor. How we can do that? So we can change the position to 263. I think that will do. If I'll change it to 263, so now if I will run the game, I'll be able to see it touching the ground. Okay, it's inside the ground. I don't want to see it like this. Let me change it to 240 then. Okay, no, it's not 220. How about this? 220. Okay, perfectly fine, right? So its feet are touching the ground, and We are able to see it looking fine on this window. Okay, so that's how you can make the things, you can change the things. Now if you want to change the position, what all keywords you can use here? So top left you can use, if you want you can use mid bottom. So now if you will run the code, so you'll that's what you will get as an output. So it's in here right now. Fine. Now how can you make it touch this ground? You have to simply pass this value. You can make it 300. I think that's what will help you in making the sprite touch the ground. See, so it is touching the ground right now. Okay, so we'll use this mid bottom for now. I think that will be great option. Okay, now what's the next thing that we can do here? If you suppose want to make this sprite move in the right direction, suppose you want to see it moving in the right direction automatically, so it's very easy. You can use this player rectangles position. Okay, just come down and here you can define player underscore rect, and then because you want to play with the, you want to see it moving in this direction, so you can simply put here you can, let's use this concept. So what will happen, every time a frame will get created, the value of this player underscore left rect dot left will increase by 1. So let's see what's going to happen. What are we going to get as an output? So we are able to see this player also moving, right? And it is moving in the right direction. Why? Because the player's left value is increasing by 1. Okay, and it is not going to come back. Why? Because we haven't defined any if control statement for controlling the position of the player. Right, if it is still moving, we are not able to see it on the screen, but the player is still moving. Fine. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so the way we have defined this rectangle for our player, in the same way we can have a rectangle for our snail also. Let's do that quickly. So that's the only thing which we'll be doing in this lecture. Remaining things we'll be doing in the next lecture, which I am going to shoot tomorrow at the same time. So please be there with me. I am quickly copying this whole code and I'm putting it here. I'll have to replace it with snail underscore surface, and that's the one which will create for me a rectangle at this point. Midpoint is equal to 8300. Now in order to get it on the screen, if I want to see this nail getting reflected on the screen, what I'll have to do, I'll have to come down, and instead of using this snail X position, I'll have to use the rect position. So let's do this snail dot rect we can use, and we can simply put this X over here. So every time a new frame will get create, a new frame gets created, so the value of this snail dot x rect dot x will change by 4. It will get reduced, it will decrease by 4, and we'll be able to see this snail moving. But we want to make it reappear on the screen. Once it completely leaves the screen, it should reappear from the from the right side, and it should appear, it should look as if it is moving towards the left side. So the same animation thing we want to see again. What we can do, we can use this if control statement. If uh, snail underscore rect, okay, dot right. So the moment this right position becomes smaller than, we can here put this equal to sign, and then we can simply use this condition. If it becomes smaller than equal to 0, then what should happen, the snail underscore rect dot left, this should become equal to 800. Fine, and I think rest everything is fine, or do we have to change something? Here we'll have to change this thing. Instead of passing this snail underscore x, we'll have to pass snail underscore rect, right? Because that's the one which on which we have defined this nail surface. Now let's run the code and see whether we'll be able to get the required output or not. We are getting an error. Why is it so? Let's check it out. So snail underscore surf. Okay, it should be surface, right? Because here we have used surface, not surf. And why, what have we used here? This is perfectly fine. Now, if I will run the code, see, I'm still getting an error. Why is it so? We'll have to check it out. So snail underscore, it should be underscore. Why I have used this dot here? I think now we'll get the required output. Okay, so we are able to see this snail moving. Okay, so that's the thing which I wanted to show you in this lecture. Now, in the next lecture that I am going to show tomorrow at 5:30 sharp, I will be telling you how you can define the code with which we can check the collision happening in between the sprite, in between the player, which we are able to see moving in the right when the game starts, and the snail, which we are able to see moving from the right side of the window towards the left side. Okay, so this is it from my side in this lecture. And before I end this lecture, I would like to again tell you about my coding classes. So I have started my coding classes in which, I'm teaching students these game development and app development things. If you want to know how you can develop apps and games using Python, you are most welcome to join my classes. Fine. You can contact me on my number, which is 9891665634. I'll be waiting you in my classes. Thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial. Have a great day ahead. Hope to see you in the next lecture, and please don't forget to like and share the video in your group so as to make this video reach to the maximum students possible. So the ones who are really coding, who have the passion for these beautiful things, can join this channel, this amazing channel named Geese for Geese School, and they can also come and enjoy these beautiful coding classes which we are providing on this channel. Thank you very much for all the efforts, all the love you are showing to us, and please do put your queries in the comment section so that I can answer them. And also please share with us your ideas. If you want us to create some videos on some platform that you don't know about and you really want to learn that platform, I would like you guys to share the name of those platforms with us. So you can put the names in the chat box, and definitely you will very soon get to see the videos based on the same. Thank you very much, all of you, for listening to me attentively and quietly. God bless you all and have a great weekend. Bye bye.